One of the finest games that we've seen anybody play in the WNBA this season. Paige Bueckers is not going to knock your socks off like Caitlin Clark does. Paige Bueckers, I've seen enough to know she's going to have an incredible WNBA career. You want to have the conversation? Who's better, Paige Bueckers or Caitlin Clark? Just a lost season for Caitlin Clark. We all know she's the most valuable asset that the league has by far. This is the Ricky Cobb Show, presented by Prize Picks. Preseason football's underway. College football is just a couple of days away. Make your way over to Prize Picks, my friend, and don't miss any of the action this football season. Paige Bueckers putting on a show last night at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Her Dallas Wings coming up just short against the Sparks as Kelsey Plum made a last-second buzzer beater to spoil, I suppose, in a sense, one of the finest games that we've seen anybody play in the WNBA this season. I would say probably the best individual game that any player has had, at least arguably so. Paige Bueckers, 17 of 21 from the field, 4 of 4 from three-point range, putting up 44 points in a losing effort as the Wings went down 81-80 last night. And the word that I have used on the program about Paige Bueckers multiple times now is efficient. And look at that. That, my friends, is efficient. 17 of 21, 4 of 4 from 3. Paige Bueckers is not going to knock your socks off like Caitlin Clark does. She just isn't. That isn't her game. I'm not disrespecting her game in any way when I say that, but the reason that Caitlin Clark got so famous is that she did things we've never seen a female basketball player do before. You've never seen a woman before Caitlin Clark pulling up from Steph Curry range, from Dame Lillard range, and draining threes. It just didn't happen. And the first time I saw Caitlin Clark do that, it was on X, and I had to run the tape back, watch it again. Then I watched it a third time, and I said, who the hell is that? And that was my introduction to Caitlin Clark. Paige Bueckers is not going to give you that reaction. You can watch Paige Bueckers highlights all day, and yes, she will make impressive plays because she is an impressive player. But she's not going to do anything that you've never seen a woman do before. She's just going to do everything you've seen a female basketball player do before a little bit better than 95% of them do it. And it has been on display all season. The Dallas Wings are terrible. I think they're still, I don't even think they have double-digit wins yet, Tim. You can keep me honest on that claim. But the Wings have had a rough go of it, but it certainly is not because of Paige Bueckers, because she has been everything she was advertised to be and more. And all you have to do is look at her pedigree. She played for the greatest coach in the history of women's basketball, the greatest program. It's just a fact. Gino Auriemma's the John Wooden of women's basketball. UConn is the equivalent of what UCLA was when Wooden was there. And Paige Bueckers learned from the best coach in the best system, and now she has taken those skills to the next level, like so many other great UConn players have, whether we're talking about Breanna Stewart, whether we're talking about Maya Moore, whoever we're talking about. We know that UConn is a factory for elite female basketball players. And Paige Bueckers, I've seen enough to know she's going to have an incredible WNBA career. And right now, if you want to have the conversation, who's better, Paige Bueckers or Caitlin Clark? It's not a crazy conversation at this point. It really isn't, because Caitlin Clark, who is my favorite player still in the league, she has really had a lost season. And what we're hearing now is not good news. We've been waiting a long time to get an update on the groin injury that has kept her out since July the 15th. And now we have learned that while she was doing individual workouts, attempting to get herself ready to come back, she's now injured an ankle as well. So Caitlin Clark, it's just, it's like Lloyd Bridges in Airplane. Maybe I picked the wrong week to give up smoking. Maybe I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines. Maybe I picked the wrong week to stop huffing airplane glue out of a sandwich bag. It just hasn't been Caitlin's season. 13 games played, and it's starting to look increasingly like 13 is going to be the number for her 2025. And it's a shame because all of us were excited to see what she could do as an encore to the rookie year that captivated everybody. She got progressively better as her rookie season went on. It was a little rough, maybe the first quarter of the year. And then after that, she started doing the things that we saw her do at Iowa. And I thought with a season, an off season to fully prepare, to come back rested and ready, not off of a almost 40 game collegiate schedule right before the WNBA gets started, going to the weight room, doing all the things that she as a competitor felt that she needed to do after seeing what professional basketball was like. I thought, well, if that's what she did as a rookie, who was probably pretty fatigued by the end of that season, considering how much basketball she played in 2024, I thought we were going to see a level up this year. I predicted that she would be the MVP of the league. Instead, we have gotten really what is, I think at this point, just a lost season for Caitlin Clark. Now, the good news for the WNBA is that it hasn't been a lost season for them in terms of popularity and in terms of ratings. ABC, when we look at the numbers they're in, we're looking at it, the numbers were up this year. Viewership was up. There was a lot of talk about how viewership of the All-Star game was down. And viewership of the All-Star game was down about 36% this year compared to last. Still way higher than it ever was before Caitlin Clark came along. But they did not retain the full audience. And probably the main reason for that is that Caitlin Clark was sidelined and she didn't play. So casual fans who would have tuned in for the WNBA All-Star game said, well, Caitlin Clark's not playing, I'm not interested. But for the overall season, up 13%. ABC aired 12 games, 5 of them on the schedule were Indiana Fever games. Due to the injuries, Caitlin Clark only played in 3 of the 5 nationally telecast games on ABC. So the 13% ratings increase, is a healthy sign for the WNBA that it is not entirely Caitlin Clark. Look, we all know she's the most valuable asset that the league has by far. There's no question about it. It's not even close. So I'm in no way knocking the fact that Caitlin Clark is probably more important still at this point than the rest of the players in the league put together from a marketing and public visibility standpoint. But for the ratings to be up 13% on ABC, despite the fact that Caitlin Clark was only in 3 of the 12 games, that's got to be encouraging for the WNBA as they continue to try to use Caitlin Clark as the catapult that is going to send them forward and give them the opportunity to have long-term success.
The little that I have seen of Paige and of Caitlin, I would argue that Paige might have a better all-around game. Like her mid-range game is phenomenal. She can't pull up for threes like Caitlin does, but her mid-range game is great. And I have seen some compilation videos. I have seen some compilation videos of her passing. Dude, she's a wicked passer. Like she really is. Like I think, like you said, she has a complete game. She has a complete game.
That is a very, very important point, and she commented on it herself after last night's game. I got a quote here for you from Paige. I truly think basketball has gotten away from it, and she's referring to the mid-range game, right? Okay. It's mostly layups and threes. Teams don't know how to guard it, so I think it's an advantage when you can score in the mid-range. Have we found an inefficiency in modern basketball here?
Yeah.
Because everything has been, layups and threes. Maybe she's a sign that there's room in this game for somebody to exploit teams who aren't used to guarding very, very excellent mid-range shooting.
So next time you're watching Paige play or you're seeing highlights of her, pay attention. Her pull-up for the mid-range shots are very similar to what Caitlin's pull-ups are from 40. Like, she gets people off balance, does a quick boom, and she is up in the air and she's shooting a shot. Like, her mid-range game is awesome.
Well, the thing that I've said about Caitlin Clark is, in the women's game, and I realize, obviously Paige is a backcourt player, but I think in the women's game, the reason that the great front court players, Breanna Stewart, right, who is got such an incredible resume, college and pro,
right?
But it's not, and Asia Wilson, who I think is the best player in the league. I don't think that interior play in the WNBA is that visually exciting. It just isn't, right? Because the game is played below the rim. So Asia Wilson, Breanna Stewart, what they're doing is excellent, effective. They're proficient at it, but it's not blowing anybody's wig off because it's just not visually stunning, because there's no dunks. There's nobody pinning balls on the backboard,
right,
block swatting shots into the 10th row. The athleticism just is not the same thing. So what is the one thing that potentially you could do as a women's basketball player? It is what I didn't know was really possible until Caitlin Clark. It's start burying 30-foot daggers. And so Caitlin Clark is the most visually impressive player in the league, and she is a great player, but I don't know, man. So I'm kind of starting to think that those, 30-foot threes and, when she gets hot, they're
great when you make them.
It's crazy.
Listen, dude, this is kind of, you hate you hate the NBA because of all the threes. So it's like, it's kind of hard. It's like, where do you go with this? But you're right. The women's game on the interior, like, you don't ever see anybody, doing a drop step pivot and then just up for a dunk. And that's just like, we're just so used to that with the men's game.
There's no dream shake.
Sometimes it just feels like the women flail sometimes when they're going up for shots. You're right. It is visually unappealing in the paint. It really is.
You can have long-term success every time that you visit Prize Picks. And it's very simple to play. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You take the knowledge that you have, you look at it, you assess what you think your favorite players are going to do, and then you simply say more or less than the number that you're looking at on Prize Picks. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. 2,000 times your money. That is not bad at all. It's the best way, in fact, to win money this football season. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money with Prize Picks. Better yet, if you download the Prize Picks app today and use my code Ricky, because I'm going to hook you up, RICKY is going to give you $50 in free lineups when you play your first $5 in lineups. Yeah, that's right. Code Ricky is going to give you $50 in lineups. It's funny money. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? I like to make my picks with other people's funds and then turn it into a nice little nest egg and build a fortune from there. You'll get $50 in free lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. So Prize Picks, run your game and get out there and have some fun. And I am in on the fun because I'm not gonna tell you how great something is unless I'm doing it myself. So I'm gonna give you a couple of my picks. So if you want to take that $50 of lineup money that you're gonna cash in when you put your $5 in lineups down, I'm here to counsel you. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little help and tell you how to turn that 50 into more and get things really rolling in your Prize Picks era. Let's take a look here. I'm looking at Saquon Barkley, and I'm looking at Joe Burrow. And Saquon Barkley, we know last year he had 2,005 yards. And this number that we got to look at right now on Prize Picks, 1,399.5. Do you think that Saquon Barkley is going to go 1,400 or more? If you do, you're simply going to say more. And when he gets across that 1,400 threshold, you're going to be in good shape on that one. I'm going to say more here. Look, at 1,400 is no easy task. I don't want to sit and say because of 2,000 that 1,400 is a piece of cake. But look, Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley. If he's healthy, he's going to average 100 yards a game, in my opinion. I got to go more there. I like that one a lot. Joe Burrow, 199 and a half yards. Do you think Joe Burrow can get to 4,200 yards this year? I'm going to go less here. He's done it 3 out of the last 4 years. But you know what? It's tough to get through an entire NFL season without an injury or two. The schedule this year is tougher than it was last year for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to say that whether it's he misses 2 or 3 games somewhere along the way, or that schedule just gets him a little bit, I think he's going to come close. I don't quite think he's going to get there. So take this advice and use it to make yourself wealthy, is what I would say to you.
This fall, you're not just watching the biggest game in college football. You're at the game.
Bama versus Georgia.
September 27th, Athens.
OutKick's giving one lucky fan and a guest the VIP treatment
This is your shot
to punch your ticket to the college football weekend of a lifetime.
Flights covered.
Hotel covered.
Game tickets, of course. We're also hooking up 10 more fans with OutKick hats, and everyone who enters gets a discount to the OutKick shop.
No purchase necessary.
Just hit outkick.com/sweepstakes.
College football weekend of a lifetime. OutKick.com/sweepstakes.
Cracker Barrel's decision to rebrand themselves after many, many years. Guys, I know that you have looked at this. They've got a new logo. And let's go ahead and take a look at it. The old logo dates back, God, how many years? Back to the 70s, I believe. And there you see it on the left. That's the familiar Cracker Barrel logo. And on the right, we've got the new one. And the consensus seems to be, no matter what the CEO of Cracker Barrel, Julie Fels-Massino, has to say about it, a lot of people are absolutely dragging this rebranding, saying that it is a bad move. People are saying that it's DEI woke. I don't know what the motivation is, but I know that you're taking an iconic logo that people have known and apparently, based on the reaction that we're seeing online, have loved for decades, and you're replacing it with something that seems like it has a lot less soul to me. Ronnie, what is your take? I'm not a huge Cracker Barrel guy. I've probably set foot in a Cracker Barrel maybe 3 times in the last 20 years. So I don't really have a dog in this hunt. You know, it's not a big deal to me what Cracker Barrel does. I kind of don't give a shit, to be honest with you. But for a lot of people, this has really struck a nerve. What do you think?
So, my job, my real job, this is a real job, but my longtime real job, I put logos on things, right? And part of what we've done over the years is at times we help people create logos, maybe a brochure or a flyer or something like that. And logos, fonts, they play a big role in how people feel about your product, okay? And I will tell you, the original Cracker Barrel logo, it speaks volumes to what I think my experience is going to be like when I go into that restaurant, and it hits it dead on. It's country. It's there's
going to be old white people in there.
Yeah, right. It's sausage gravy and sausage gravy and biscuits. It just sometimes that's what I feel like, right? I feel like that experience. And I will tell you, this new logo, it's so corporate. It
could be anything.
Yeah,
it could be anything.
It just
if you didn't know.
No,
it could be anything.
It feels sanitized,
boring,
and so
it's boring.
So it just makes me feel like you remember Perkins. Trying to think who else is out there. It just feels like it's just another It's just another chain where you can get a club sandwich and a bowl of soup or whatever, where Cracker Barrel, like you said, you've been there 3 times, Ricky, you go through and there's that little general store and you walk through and you look at these little trinkets and knickknacks and this and that and old timey candy. And then you sit down and you play the T game, the triangle T game.
Yes.
And it's just, that's what that logo right there makes me feel. The other one makes me feel like I'm going to be going into a very sterile environment. So guess what? The great part about the United States is you get to make dumb decisions. You're allowed to. Nobody can stop you. And you'll find out. A lot of people the market will speak. The market will speak.
That this is a Bud Light or a Jaguar moment.
I don't see where that I don't see, like, again, unless there's a some story behind it that I'm not aware of, because I've tried to look at some things. This isn't like, what was it, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's?
The CEO is perceived as woke, and apparently they've had some corporate initiatives about diversity and so forth. And so I think folks are looking at this kind of reading between the lines, and the impression that some are drawing, rightly or wrongly, is that Cracker Barrel is trying to distance themselves away from any sort of implication. Like I saw a tweet this morning, had over 500,000 likes, Ron, and it was somebody who had tweeted and said, why did they get rid of the cracker and the barrel? So I think that idea of sort of, Southern, white, whatever negative connotations some people might draw from that, they're trying to distance themselves from it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Then. It's like, okay, just tell me whoever's in charge out there of what's proper and what's appropriate these days, right? So Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's had to remove their black character because that was wrong. And now a white character. So which one is it? Can somebody tell me? You know what we do? We just have a very generic, sterile logo, and that way nobody'll be offended. It's ridiculous.
Well, they're removing him because, I don't know, people are probably assuming that he's the kind of guy that might say problematic things at the family holiday dinner. You know what I mean? They're making assumptions about him, is what I'm saying. He's an old man from the South representing a company called Cracker Barrel. And some people probably think that,
But it's still called Cracker Barrel, though. That's the thing. It's still called Cracker Barrel. Like,
I remember when Kentucky Fried Chicken changed it to KFC, and I was offended because I thought it's got Kentucky in it. I was proud that we had we're from Kentucky. As a Kentucky Colonel now, I'm offended that we reduced
you knew you'd be one
to
day.
A K. Yeah, but they were trying to get rid of the fried. They were trying to just, because remember when everything was like, oh, let's try to be healthy as we can possibly be. McDonald's with all the salads and whatever. And then Wendy's came along, and Wendy's was like, you know what? When you zig, we zag. How would you like 3 burgers with 17 slices of bacon on it, motherfucker?
And cheese. And cheese.
And cheese. And people
mayo. And some mayo.
To that. Look, I think regardless of what the intention is, and regardless of whether it's correct to bring the woke DEI aspect into it, I do think just from an aesthetic point of view, it's a downgrade. And this is a trend that's been going on for a long time with various companies, and I can point to restaurants. For example, Long John Silver's, Ron, take a look at this tweet of mine, which I pull out of my back pocket once in a while, and people always respond well to. I said, remember when Long John Silver still had a little dignity? Walking along that fake fucking pier to get inside really lent the entire dining experience an exotic air of piracy. Well, and it did. It felt like you were boarding that motherfucker. You didn't walk into a Long John Silver's. You boarded.
You're trying, Ricky. You just made my point. I know this was supposed to be a funny tweet, but you literally made my point about the Cracker Barrel because you were trying to be funny. But the truth is, you're right. It's about the experience. It's how you feel.
Funny because it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of comedy is funny because it's true.
Yeah.
And Long John Silver's used to be an experience in and of itself. Just like
fun.
Pizza Hut.
Didn't they have the little
used
hat,
to
the
be
little
an
pirate
experience
hats
where we would
for the
go
kids?
in. Yeah, you get a little pirate hat. Pizza Hut used to be, man, anybody our age could sit and tell you fond stories of going to Pizza Hut. Now it's just a place in a strip mall where you walk in,
carry out,
and take your order at the counter and carry out.
Yep.
McDonald's used to have outdoor playgrounds, Ron. Then it became, look at that. Would you look at that sweet bastard right there? McDonald's had full-on outdoor playgrounds that became indoor play places and ball pits and shit, and now they're phasing that out to where we saw not that long ago.
We did it on a WTF.
Where it's just like a screen. It's like a 13-inch screen.
And you remember, if you recall,
watch stuff.
If you recall, that McDonald's that we referenced is about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from my house. So dude.
It's just a part of the decline of Western civilization, man.
There's a reason
in the pursuit of just maximum profit, we are losing a lot of the soul that once made this culture great.
But Ricky, as I always say, I say all the time, the market speaks, the market speaks, the market speaks, the market speaks, right? The market will speak on Cracker Barrel, and I saw their stock plummeted today, but that's a one-day thing, so we'll have to see over a period of time. But
Ronnie,
there's a reason that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing creamsicle. People, there's nostalgia, there's a feeling, there's a look. Like some of these pro sports teams, they try to rebrand, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, who's that for? I guess maybe it's for the 12-year-olds. But they always come back to retro. Retro.
Yeah, it's just about trying to maximize profit. I miss the old days when if you went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, there was like a 30% chance that Colonel Sanders would just follow you wherever you went, and you'd look over and just see him, maybe sitting under a tree. As I tweeted, honey, what the fuck? Did Colonel Sanders follow us here? Do not look at him and don't make any sudden movements.
This fall, you're not just watching the biggest game in college football. You're at the game.
Bama versus Georgia.
September 27, Athens.
OutKick's giving one lucky fan and a guest the VIP treatment
This is your shot
to punch your ticket to the college football weekend of a lifetime.
Flights covered.
Hotel covered.
Game tickets, of course.
We're also hooking up 10 more fans with OutKick hats, and everyone who enters gets a discount to the OutKick shop.
No purchase necessary.
Just hit outkick.com/sweepstakes.
College football weekend of a lifetime. Outkick.com/sweepstakes.